All right. So actually, I have to blame Jason Glazer for all this happening. He's the co-founder of the La Isla Foundation. And I was very fortunate a few years ago for him to commission me to come down to Nicaragua for a couple of visits in 2013 to look at this issue. And you know, in the course of my career, many of the most important personal projects that I have done are ones that I found myself and I took the time to learn about and then, you know, commit myself to the coverage. And then occasionally, I am blessed by the photo gods or whatever they may be, and an amazing idea is brought to me. And this is a case in point. After I went down there and I witnessed what is going on, and every day in this town of Chichigalpa, there's a funeral for a sugarcane worker. And I saw the conditions in which they work in. I was just completely upset by this. You know, it reminded me of a project I worked on in Nigeria, in the Niger Delta, in between 2004 and 2006. And it was the same thing. In that case, it was a scholar from Berkeley who brought me to the Niger Delta. And when I saw what I saw, the injustice, I just had to continue to document it. I had to continue to search for a way to tell that story. There's so many of the men. It's something like 60%. By the way, you'll have people, experts who follow me, who will give you statistics that are accurate. But I'm going to, but not that they're not speaking from the heart, but I'm going to speak from the heart here. But one of the things that we're starting to see now is so many of the men are sick or have died. Now the women are working in the fields. And one of the things I decided to do was, you know, we talk about visual strategies and trying, you know, how can I utilize the talent and the energy and the knowledge that I have about an issue to be effective, to have an impact, you know, because this isn't just about making art or making pictures. It's really about making media materials that then people like Solidaridad or Jason or whomever can use to almost prosecute this story and to expose it to the world. So one of the motifs I decided to use was to do portraits of either workers who are sick or the relatives, the family members that are left behind. You know, we also, I also wanted to do reportage work to sort of show the conditions. You know, this is 4:30 in the morning in Chichigalpa, and the workers are sort of boarding the buses to go out into the fields to work. The day after we did that, they moved the muster point into the grounds of the mill. This was one of the most dramatic scenes. This was in January of this year. I was with Tom and Mateus from Solidaridad, and literally the first day, literally within 2 hours arriving in Chichigalpa, we came upon the scene, and this is a young boy massaging his father's feet, and 3 days later he died. And you see things like this, and you realize these are men who have worked full time. They've done exactly what you would want them to do, and yet they're getting sick and they're dying every single day. This man is a former Sandinista commandant and commander, and Lino, and he was someone who touched us deeply, one of the first trips with Jason. And this is an example of this sort of at-home dialysis, which is basically just sort of it's a death sentence. Usually within 6 to 12 months, the person will die. But this is how sort of desperate these families are to figure out a way to deal with this situation. This is in San Salvador at the main clinic or hospital in the capital, and this is a different kind of treatment. I saw nothing like this in Nicaragua. I'm happy to say, and this is one of the things that fuels this work, that the La Isla Foundation and Solidaridad have found a sugar mill in El Salvador that is willing to implement this WE program, which you'll hear more about. And it's incredible, it seems to me, how simple the solution may be. And it doesn't require the company to go out of business or to lose a lot of money. It's really quite incredible how easy the solution may be. This is at the wake of a 29-year-old worker in Chichigalpa who had died that morning. This is his father just waiting to bury his son. You know, too many young men are dying in Nicaragua and in other places in Central America. These funerals, they were like a daily procession. It was almost this weird kind of daily event where the community would turn out to escort the coffins to the graves. And the thing that started to get to me, I've made 4 trips now in the last few years, and this girl's face, this is the 15-year-old daughter of the young man who had passed in January. I started to think about what is the cumulative impact on the young girls in this community when the majority of the men are getting sick or are dying. What does, I just started to think, how does that make them feel? It must breed a sense of insecurity or uncertainty about the future. So anyway, thank you so much for being here, really. And these kinds of events, these kinds of initiatives are so important that we actually can make change. Thank you very much.